Hey, how's it going? Rob here. This is my top selection of electric mountain bikes for 2020. Totally redesigned for 2020, the new Orbea Wild FS is a well-sorted trail and enduro-based bike, based around Bosch's new 2020 Generation 4 motor system. It uses Bosch's removable 625 watt-hour internal battery. It's neatly integrated into the down tube and it can easily be removed if you prefer to charge it indoors. You can also get a dual battery connection to double up on range as an optional extra. The bike has 160mm travel on the front and rear, and Orbea have worked the geometry to provide decent comfort and very good suspension kinematics. I was impressed with the fit and finish of the bike and the little details that Orbea had thought about, like this little key holder to remove the battery that's built into the headset. I felt the bike handled trails really well, and with 160mm travel, it's suited for a huge range of different terrain. The bike is a lively, agile handling e-bike and it's got decent climbing ability, but you can really send it downhill quickly if you want to. With a 29er wheel set and a massively customizable build, this is a bike that will certainly be a hot product in 2020. The e-bike world is moving quickly, but this is bang up to date, so if you're looking at a sorted, capable e-bike that can pretty much do it all, then this should definitely be on your shortlist. Next up, we've got the Mondraker Crafty Carbon RR. Another bike from a Spanish brand and another with the 2020 Bosch Generation 4 motor. Mondraker have produced a stunning looking bike and it's currently the world's lightest full-powered electric mountain bike, coming in at under 20 kilograms. This is Mondraker's no compromise e-bike and they've gone all out for 2020, with many of the choices that they've made pointing to keep the weight down. It's a full carbon electric bike with 160mm travel on the front and 150 on the rear, and it uses Mondraker's signature forward geometry and zero suspension kinematics. It's got a 625 watt-hour battery that's completely internal, meaning that it's not user removable. This helps keep the weight down as it doesn't need any extra mounting points built into the frame. To get the weight even lower, Mondraker also sell it with a 500 watt-hour battery option. This will reduce the weight down to an incredible 19.4 kilograms, which for a full-powered e-bike is pretty remarkable. Now the battery can actually be removed by a dealer, but it requires dropping the motor, so it's not something that can be done by the owner. Mondraker are positioning this as an all-round enduro e-bike with a 65.5-degree head angle. It's not got the most extreme geometry, but it's well-rounded to provide decent trail capabilities and excellent descending capabilities. The 29-inch wheels give great rolling speed and the low weight helps keep the bike agile. I rode the bike on some pretty rough, natural downhill tracks and I was super impressed with what Mondraker have done with the suspension kinematics. It offers a really comfortable, supple feeling that gave good feedback, and the bike tracks really well over bumps and also has great mid-stroke support, and I couldn't even bottom out the suspension, it's that good. Now, this bike from Mondraker, they said is not for everybody. It's expensive, but what you're getting is a super lightweight, full-powered electric mountain bike, and it really is one of the best handling e-bikes that I've ridden. Next up, the 2020 Specialized Kenevo. This is Specialized's big-hitting enduro e-bike. Sharing a similar frame design to the Levo, the new 180mm travel bike features Bro's Magnesium S motor that pumps out 90 Nm of torque. Paired with a 700 watt-hour battery, this is a bike that can travel big climbs and take a beating on the way back down. With a super long reach up to 520mm and a slack geometry, the bike's aimed at a gravity-based rider who's looking for something that can take the biggest of descents. It looks like a mini downhill bike with its triple clamp forks and long wheelbase. Specialized have used 27-inch wheels and it's the only bike in the list to do so, but it keeps the slack geometry long travel bike feeling more agile than it should. I've been happy riding this Kenevo for cross-country rides, trail riding, as much as I have on most other bikes. It is one of the heaviest e-bikes for 2020 though, weighing in at around 25 kilograms. So you take a bit of hit on the handling due to the higher weight, but Specialized have beefed up the frame and the components to make sure it can handle a beating. The pedalling performance is surprisingly good. It's quite a comfortable bike to ride for longer distances, and given that it's got a motor, many of the disadvantages of long travel slack bikes disappear when you've got the power to help you. Now, I wasn't a massive fan of the previous generation Kenevo, so I didn't think I'd like this bike that much, but I was absolutely blown away with how it performed, and it's one of my favourite bikes for 2020. Next up, we've got the Specialized Turbo Levo. Now, this will surely go down as a genre-defining e-bike. The design and integration is so well thought out that still, over a year after it was released, there's not a lot around that can touch it as an overall package. Looks, excellent integration with a minimalist design, a 700 watt-hour removable battery and a great motor system. Specialized have designed a bike that not only looks great though, its performance is excellent. It weighs around 21.5 kilograms, but you can get the S-Works, which is even lighter. It's got 29er wheels and is based around 150mm travel. It performs really well as a trail bike, but can also take on some bigger terrain if you want to push it. It's quite conservative in geometry though, so it's not super long or slack, and really tall riders might feel it's a little bit compact compared to some others. But it's well balanced with lively characteristics and it feels excellent on the trails. With its 700 watt-hour battery, it's good for all-day rides, and you'll rarely be in a situation where you wish you had more. I've clocked well over 1,000 miles on the Levo, and it is one of my favourite bikes to own. For 2020, Specialized have included the 700 watt-hour battery in the aluminium comp, as well as equipped it with beefier suspension, and at £5,500, I believe it represents the best bang for buck in the range. And it goes all the way up to £10,000, where that will get you the S-Works, which is just over 20 kilograms, it's all carbon, and it is a beautiful bike. Next, the 2020 Merida E140, 140mm of travel on the front and 133 on the rear. I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting this bike to appeal to me, but after riding it, I was pretty blown away with how it felt. Mountain biking should be fun, and riding this provides a huge amount of feel-good factor. This is the first bike in this lineup so far to feature the Shimano E8000 system. The Shimano motor is a compact, lightweight motor with a neat little screen to give you essential information. The motor is plenty punchy enough and offers decent power. I don't find it the smoothest in power delivery compared to others, but it's not an issue at all. In fact, some people prefer the way it delivers the power. This bike has a 500 watt-hour battery, and much like most of the other Shimano-based systems, you might not be able to keep up for those big all-day rides if others that you're riding with have larger batteries. But the batteries are compact enough that you could easily take a spare in a backpack. This bike is very close to feeling like a regular pedal bike thanks to its outstanding frame design and its geometry. Whilst the bike is not built for enduro or downhill riding, it offers one of the most active and liveliest rides out of any e-bike that I've ever tested. I was super impressed with the feeling that I got from the bike. If most of your riding is single track trails, then this is definitely a bike to look at. I'd also recommend that you take a look at the 160 version if you're looking for a similar feeling bike but with more travel. They both share the exact same frame. One of the standout bikes of the year, the YT Decoy. YT rocked the e-bike market with arguably the best value for money e-bike in the world, with an outstanding specification that includes most of the things that you'd probably spec your own bike with. It's not only great value for money, it looks so good. Powered by the Shimano E8000 motor, with a custom YT designed 540 watt-hour semi-integrated battery, it neatly sits under the down tube. It's got super clean lines and an aggressive look. The top spec race comes in at £5,999 and you get an incredible spec for that price. Carbon frame, carbon wheels, Fox factory suspension and wireless Shimano Di2 shifting. The bike has got 160mm travel at the front and 165 at the rear, and it's aimed at the gravity base rider, so really suited for aggressive enduro riding. The front end gives a lot of confidence, and the progressive suspension on the rear requires you to really push it hard to get the most out of it. The bike would be really suited to shuttle runs to the top compared to tight twisty trails. But if you're looking for the best value for money 2020 e-bike with sweet looks, then you can't get any better than this. Next up, the Hi-Bike Fly-On. This stunned the e-bike world when it was announced, with aggressive futuristic looks, jam-packed with technology, and a hugely powerful TQ120 motor that blows everything else away. All of that tech comes at a cost though, and in this case it's weight. The bike hits the scales at 28 kilograms, so it's not made to be a nippy, agile trail bike. Instead, this is a bike designed for huge alpine climbs and long sweeping descents. It will outclimb anything. I tested it in a drag race against the 2020 Levo and it left them in the dust. The big hitting bike has 180mm travel on the front and the rear, and the huge screen and super bright integrated lights make it more SUV-like than anything else that I've ridden before. There's loads of tech built into it. It's connected via an eSIM and it'll alert you if the bike moves. On the trails, you need to put in a fair bit of input to get it to move around, and its weight means that if your riding involves a lot of lifting the bike over things, then you'll get a workout when you pick it up. But it's a marvel of innovation, and it certainly lives up to the brand's promise of e-performance. You can muscle it around and it's good fun on the trails. It can take some big hits. It's really composed with that extra weight, so when you're riding over really rooty or rocky or super steep descents, you get a super stable feeling bike. The bike comes with a 630 watt-hour battery, and if you use it in extreme mode it can drain the battery fairly quickly. But I've got to admit, blasting around in the top mode is such a good laugh. If you're looking for the most powerful e-bike on the market, then this is the one for you. And finally, the Focus Jam Squared. With a selection of 2020 Bosch powered e-bikes in the lineup, I tested the new Jam Squared in the 29er configuration. The bike has the new Bosch 625 watt-hour battery, which is semi-integrated into the aluminium down tube, and it's extremely well priced amongst other 2020 e-bikes. This one costs £4,599, but the range actually starts at under £4,000. And for a bike with a 2020 motor and a large 625 watt-hour battery, I think represents outstanding value for money. The bike is based around trail geometry, so nothing super long or slack. Instead, it will be at home on technical trails and single track. I loved how playful and agile the bike felt, and paired with the 29er wheels, it rolled really quickly but still allowed for a lively feeling ride. And for the price of some of the others in this list, you could get two bikes from Focus, one for you and one for another family member, and riding with other people is double the fun. Not only are they priced really well, they look really slick too. So there you go, that's my selection of top bikes that you should look at if you're in the market in 2020. Now, this isn't all the e-bikes, this is just the ones that I've rode, which is the main launches for 2020. So I'm sure there's others that you might want to see on the list too. And I will try and ride them all, so Subscribe because I'll bring you weekly e-bike videos, and I'll bring you all the e-bikes that are launched here on this channel.